We took a little bit of break from this show, but now we are officially back and jumping once again into the world of DC Comics, where we turn these characters into a great movie. This time around, it is probably the most important teenage superhero team of all time. It's the Teen Titans. Welcome back to the Batmaning of. This is the show where I take the rest of the DC universe and I put it in the same vein, the same stylings as the Batman film, because I think that film was revolutionary for a genre piece, and I want to do that for the rest of the DC universe. We have covered so many great talents before, but this is the first time on the Batmaning of, not the last if I have my way with it, that we are going to be talking about a team. And of course, what better place to start than with the Teen Titans? And there's a particular Teen Titans team I want to talk about. It is the Wolfman and Perez team, the new Teen Titans, because, look, you could say what you will about previous iterations and other characters related to the Teen Titans. This is the one that people know the most. When you say Teen Titans, your mind goes here, you go to these characters, and I think they are the best representations of teenage heroes you can get, because kind of pretty much before this, it was just a bunch of people connected to heroes. It was just a bunch of sidekicks who joined a team. And that's fine. But all those characters were intrinsically connected to these other characters. And that can sometimes be a problem. But when you were doing a young superhero thing, it's kind of cool just to take the idea of these young heroes who have no affiliation with anybody else, well, except for Robin, but that's kind of like the standout thing that you need to have, that can kind of come together and work through their problems together. And I think that's a really cool thing that sometimes gets overlooked when it comes to the Teen Titans. They are just so much represented for the cartoons they are a part of. And the cartoons are probably the reason people know them. The cartoons are good. I think more than some other ones, there's brilliant stuff that represents what these characters meant to the creators at the time. They're still very fascinating nonetheless. I have a soft spot for the new Teen Titans. I was a huge fan of both cartoons. Yes, I love the original Teen Titans cartoon. Yes, I love Teen Titans Go. I think there's so many brilliant things in that show that some people don't respect. There is genius to it. But when it comes to the comic book characters, I think one of the things that really happened that kind of just moved away for these characters was their connection. In recent years, they've kind of just morphed out of their necessity to be together. Some of them are aged differently than other ones, and that's a problem because these five characters, yes, these five, Robin, Raven, Starfire, Cyborg, and Beast Boy, that is who I'm sticking with. When you have those characters together, they all work intrinsically well because they have the same problems, the same ideas being presented that you can play around with and work with and do some cool stuff with. One of the things I really admire about the Teen Titans, and this is kind of any iteration, but it kind of really starts here, is this idea of external and internal problems. These are both problems they are facing outside in the real world and problems they are facing intrinsically inside themselves. Always being the outsider, always feeling less than, always dealing with the public opinion of them. That is intrinsically connected to these characters while they still, go out and fight the big bad guys. And that's something I really like to see because when you find that balance right, it works. And when you do that in kind of like a coming of age tale of these people growing up in a superhero world, I think that's really important. I think it works really well. There's something very special about that I like to see. Like I said, I kind of have a soft spot for these characters. Are they my favorite characters in all of DC? Probably not. I wouldn't say they are. I do like a lot of them. Personally, of that five, I think my favorite is Beast Boy. There's been certain interpretations of him where I like the angles they have took, but I don't know. There's something about them that I don't actively read their books, maybe because they've been so far removed from what made them popular in the first place. There's too many new characters being made, too many reasons we can't age up certain ones. I don't like that. But as it stands, I really enjoy Beast Boy's storyline. He's a really complex character who kind of gets to be the goofball, kind of gets to be the silly one, but also has some very humanity necessities to him where he can be the most human, the most interesting. That's really fun. I like the idea of Raven being this character built from two worlds who has to strive to find herself in both of them. That's a fun story that we've kind of seen before, and having it come back here is a really fun area to play. Cyborg, another character who kind of moved away from his Teen Titan status. And here's the thing about Cyborg. That character works better towards the younger demographic, but on the older side of the younger demographic. You know, he's not a Justice Leaguer level character, and I never thought he was. He fits best in when he is the more mature side of these characters, having lived the most in a real world setting. Now he is the most unhuman. No, not unhuman, but he's the most cybernetic, the least connected to his humanity. Now, I think that's a really fun area to explore and works better with a young demographic. Starfire is a complex one for me. It's either she is not the brightest written character, she's kind of dull and just kind of like ditzy and sexy and written to be like a woman of a certain prowess, or she is just like this intense fireball. It's kind of very sexist at times, and I think the more human the character becomes is earlier on in her career. There's that middle part where she's just kind of nothing. She finds herself eventually. But of course, the most important one to get right is Robin. And look, I have a whole video planned to talk about Dick Grayson. I'm not going to get too much into this. But Robin in the Teen Titans represents like the idea of what they could be. They could be the success story. They don't have to be connected to Batman, to Aquaman, to Wonder Woman, to Superman, to fully strive in this world. The fact that he is, and he chooses to be with these other people, is a really cool story to play with. I like seeing that. I think it works really well. And having Robin be the leader, it makes sense to me. Robin is the ultimate sidekick. No matter what anybody says, you'll never find a better sidekick than Robin. It's really cool. And yes, I'm doing Dick Grayson. He has to be the one that does this. You could even show his evolution to becoming Nightwing. Maybe he chooses that persona instead of staying as Robin. But for the ideas of my film, he is Robin. He is Robin. And I should say this right now. I want all of these actors to be between the ages of 13 to 19. I want them to literally be Teen Titans. They can be differently aged, but they have an intrinsic connection towards each other where they are all teenagers. So I'm going to skip a little bit ahead here. I'm just going to say this. When it comes to casting for my Teen Titans film, I don't know any young actors, really. I could tell you places to look. The Stranger Things kids, the kids in Euphoria, the kids from Yellow Jackets. All of these shows have prominent younger actors. You could pick from there and do something special with them, but I wouldn't really know where to begin or how to cast that, so I'm not going to do that. Let's get that out of the way. When we look at other live-action interpretations, and this is the key thing, we have great animation interpretations for all 5 of these characters. When it comes to live-action, there's a mix. As it stands, there's only really like one Teen Titans show called Titans. I have not liked it. I think it's very lazy, very cheesy in the wrong way. It's too dark for some reason and just goes in directions that make no sense and feels awkward and inauthentic that I do not enjoy. I don't think any character comes out of there unscathed and really in a good interpretation. Cyborg's not on that, sadly. Cyborg does have some other live-action interpretations. There's a really shitty one with Ray Fisher, and I'm not saying anything bad about Ray Fisher, but the better one does come to us on Doom Patrol, which is a great interpretation of that character, and he is younger compared to the adults. That's what you should do. Don't make him the same age as these other guys. He should be younger. Best live-action Robin, though? I guess you could say it's Brendan Thwaites in the Titan show, because Chris O'Donnell, not great, and whatever's happening in The Dark Knight Rises, pretty lame. Everyone else, just kind of bad. They're all pretty bad, and that's the problem, because they're not dark characters. This is something that kind of gets overlooked, and people forget they're not dark characters. They are teenagers. The world around them is supposedly dark because that's how they interpret it. They are not characters who deal with like these dark things. They just see the darkness in the world because that's where they are in their lives. There's angst, there's emotion, there's drama because that's what they build for themselves. And that is kind of like the theme I want to find throughout this show. I always talk about like, okay, Chinatown and, the Big Sleep and stuff. That was such an inspiration for the Batman. What is my inspiration for the Teen Titans? My inspiration is The Breakfast Club. Because, of course, you have 5 characters together who come from different walks of life that learn to deal with each other and help each other in this big room. And that's the point. It's a coming-of-age story. It is a generation of heroes who grew up with these other heroes around them and how they're going to learn to deal with these things. Well, they are intrinsically different than these people. They are aliens. They are demons. They are of certain color. And maybe that could be something you play into with Cyborg, and he sees these other heroes who aren't like him. They do not look like him. That's just something that happens. I also want it to kind of be like Yellow Jackets, because Yellow Jackets really toyed that line that I was talking about between external and internal problems. These characters are all dealing with stuff internally when they're on this island in this forest and they can't really get out, and then externally there's a whole threat around them and stuff they cannot escape. I like the balance of the two. The coming of age story of these people finding each other with the whole world's crumbling around us, but we have to deal with our eternal problems first. That's a fun thing to explore. I like seeing that. So here is my premise for a Teen Titans movie. Let's say they are in their teens. Like we've established that they're in their teens. Robin has been active for a little bit. This is like the first few months he has broken away from Batman. He's already seen other sidekicks in this world. He knows Aqualad exists, Wonder Girl exists, the Kid Flash exists, Speedy exists. He knows these characters and he knows these people, but they are not there to help him. They don't understand what he's going through. They're not headstrong enough, or they're too wrapped in their own worlds to understand that Robin had to disassociate from Batman and grow as a person. So Dick Grayson reluctantly says, I want to help younger heroes understand this world. That's kind of where it starts out, and as it goes up, okay, here's his team. I do want to establish it like his team is here. All this stuff is kind of like prologue, and here's Dick Grayson with his new team. We have Beast Boy, Cyborg, Starfire, and Raven, and they are struggling to work as a team because there's this conflict of interest between all of them. They cannot trust each other. They do not understand each other on that level because they're still not connected to each other. Nobody is revealing their secrets. Nobody is revealing their fears and their pains. And that leads us to the villain of the piece, Trigon. I want it to be somebody who is connected to these characters, and Raven is a great place to do that because she is the one potentially showing the most emotional strain in a situation. So when suddenly she's like, oh my goodness, my dad is out here wrecking stuff and doing these bad things, now she has something to deal with. Now she has something to fight. And I think that's really intense. And suddenly you have these group of kids who have to come together, understand each other, like, this is my father, this is what he did to me, this is why I'm broken, this is why I want to stop him. And now you have the like, oh, well, this is what happened to me. This is what my father did to me. This is how I got here. This is where I'm from. And you have Dick Grayson finally admitting to himself, like, Batman made me into something I don't want to be. I cannot lead a team like Batman would lead a team. I have to lead a team like I would lead a team. And that is how they break out of the shadows of the previous generation of sidekicks and heroes to become their own brand of Teen Titans. I think that could be kind of fun. Just something crazy to explore that maybe we wouldn't normally see. When it comes to a director, this was a hard one, but I wanted to go with somebody who did work on Yellow Jackets. So my choice for director is Karen Kusama, and I think she would just be a great fit for this. Clearly working in the field of like a younger adult-oriented thing where you can have these teenagers really playing off each other. She seems like the perfect fit for that. So Karen Kusama is my choice for director. And of course, I don't think I need to say like the tone of this film. It's coming of age. It is this celebration of superheroes and young people learning to live within this world, doing these great things and coming together in all these great positive ways. I like the Teen Titans. They are fun characters. They're not somebody I actively read because they went in directions I don't like, but these 5 characters, they need to be connected. They need to stand together and do something powerful and cool, and I think this is the right direction to do it in a coming-of-age film in a world of superheroes, realizing you have to be different than the previous generation and coming to terms with your own reality, helping you strive to be a better team, and that is how you make an ultimate, well, not ultimate, but a good Teen Titans movie. So thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And if you have any suggestions you would like to see me talk about for DC characters, let me know. I'll put them on the list. We got a list of about 10 other ones right now, so I'm hoping to get through them every other week. Now guys, have fun, stay safe, good luck.